For May the 20th, 2022, we talk about even more Elden Ring, Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, Dagon, and much more. Welcome to level 415. My name is Kole Ross.
I'm Dennis Furia.
I'm David Maismith.
And I'm Ben Merkel.
And you are listening to The Level. It's a podcast for people who love video games. Want to ask for your forgiveness ahead of time. We're recording under a new recording thing. So if it sounds different, understand that. If it sounds better, good. It worked. Is everybody here? Were we all here last time? I think we were. So I don't know. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know who to go for.
Now
and
you're
also,
playing God, Cole.
Now I'm playing God. No, all I have is boring homeowner shit. I gotta get a new roof. So.
Oh no, that's a big one.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing is, after you replace your roof, you're as long as you're ever going to be from needing to do it again.
Mm-hmm. So. That sounds like something a roof salesman would say, though.
No, that's what my brother said. So,
is he a roof salesman?
I don't know.
He is now.
I don't know what he does when I'm not looking at him. Yeah, no. So anyway, yeah, that's a bummer. But it's one of those things where like there was a small leak in my garage, and called somebody out to inspect it and see like, okay, what can we do? Is like, yeah, I can repair that for a few $100, but also this is fucked, and this is fucked, and this is fucked. And I called out some second opinions and estimates, and they're like, yeah, the person who did this didn't do a good job, and there's a lot of the sheeting that is really sagging, like it's bad. So oh well, at least it's probably the last time I'll have to do it on this house.
Would this ever be an opportunity for you to like put in solar panels or something?
Not necessarily, not at the same time.
That's fair. I guess it is kind of a different project.
Yeah, so
and there's the sun god union is completely different than the rain god union.
you got to write different checks, and there's a processing fee. It's a real hassle.
Is the sun god what Elon is calling himself now?
Yeah,
probably.
Yeah, so that's a bummer, but I can afford it, so whatever. Being adult sucks.
It's just lots and lots of paperwork and conversations, and like, how much energy do I want to invest in making sure I don't get screwed versus how much do I just want it done right away, and I'll just hope I don't get screwed.
Yes, yeah. Really hard to get a contractor to give you an estimate. This has been like a 3-week process to either get, I've on my whiteboard, I've got 8 company names. Only 3 of them got back to me. And it took some of them like a week and a half to get it.
Is it like the typical, like everyone's short-staffed and so they're just swimming in work and don't really care about leads right now?
I've got no idea. I don't know.
We'll be charitable and say that's it.
Yeah. And, you don't want to just like immediately assume that people are screwing you over, but yeah. So that's what I got. It's boring.
I imagine this is like prime time for a roof replacement season. Like, you don't want to do that in the winter.
No, you don't. Yeah, no. I pulled the trigger on one today, and they can't get me until mid-June or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah, I've got a tarp over the part that was leaking, and it was in my garage anyway. So. Wow.
Speaking of work backlog, segue to what I've been doing this week. If that's okay.
Yeah.
I got a computer chair finally that I ordered in January.
Holy cow.
Yeah. Wow. That was the longest I've had to wait for a thing, but it's nice though. It's the same chair that I had in my office, so.
Oh, cool. Do you mind sharing what kind it was?
It is Herman Miller Cell, Celle, I think is what it is. I don't know how to pronounce it, but
yeah, I know Herman Miller. Good stuff.
Yeah. Hooray! Not having back pain.
Yeah. No, I very quickly, once I started working from home, realized that it would be it would be a worthwhile investment. Yeah. No, very good. It sucked that it took that long to get to you.
Yep. But since we only live in the present, everything's fine now.
True. True. And it's not like you had to, I don't know, sit on a garbage can in the meantime. Yeah.
That's true as well.
That is a very specific thing.
I was trying to think of, I was trying to think of something that would make sense, but also not be crass. So like, or absurd, like, oh, did you take your toilet and bring it into your? Oh, now we're describing the dream.
Yeah.
No, please, nobody do that. Yeah.
What's to say I haven't already?
The fact that we're still doing this show.
Because you have a
You're
wife
allowed
and
my
family.
This is true. This is true.
Oh man. The longest I had to wait for something, I think I had to wait like this was pre-pandemic. I had to wait like 4 months to get my recliner and couch most recently. That was like in 2019.
Oh man.
Yeah.
For me, it's XCOM, the board game. Jen ordered it for me as it was either a Christmas or a birthday present, so December or February, and it didn't come until the next fall.
Oh wow!
And it was something around like it was in a shipping container that got seized for something else in the shipping container.
Okay,
they're smuggling XCOM board games into the country.
Right? Yeah. I never found out what exactly the container was seized for, but basically, like, someone who was sharing container space with them got busted, and the container just kind of disappeared for a while, and then was like in limbo.
Yeah.
So. That took a long time to get to me, but was worth every second of the wait.
You just know that all those guys in customs spent all the time playing the game too. like how when the
it's so good
when the police confiscate a skateboard, they're just using it back at the station.
Yeah.
They had to find another crate with an iPad in it so they could confiscate that, so they could play the game with it. Yeah.
Oh, nice. David, how about you?
So I've got two. First off, a Kole style, house talk. I bought a air fryer.
Ooh, yeah. What kind?
All right.
A Ninja.
Okay.
Which I don't know why, like, feudal warriors are cooking my food, but
They made like food processors before that. I think specifically like slicers and dicer kind of things. So ninjas, swords, yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll let that slide.
Yeah.
You'll let that slice?
Yes, I'll let that slice. And then let's see. And then probably more interesting is I'll have to see if I can upload some pictures. My next door neighbor got a inflatable movie screen.
Ooh.
And so we set it up in my backyard because mine's a little clearer than his is. And invited a bunch of people over, got a bunch of snacks, and did a showing of The Mummy.
Oh, cool.
Hell yeah.
One of the greatest
Nice.
movies of all time.
The 1999 Brendan Fraser mummy?
Yes.
Okay.
I feel like that is the only correct mummy.
I mean, there's the 1938 one, but I'm not going to say that's a superior movie. The 1999 one is definitely more fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, that's good. Man, it's been forever since I saw that.
Yeah. I was thinking the last time I saw it, I was young enough that like my parents were a little concerned whether it would be too scary for me.
Okay.
And like it is ostensibly maybe horror, but it is not a scary movie.
The thing that messed me up most about it was the scarabs crawling under the skin.
Yeah. The scarabs are creepy as hell.
Yeah.
It's weird. When you're an adult, everything's goofy, and so it's not scary anymore. But like when you're a kid, like just terror just fills in the gaps,
Well, as an adult, you've seen humanity and realized that nothing can be worse.
You have so much more fuel to populate stuck with.
I've got to say, I really got the year wrong on the 1930s on the Boris Karloff mummy. That was 1932. I think I called it 1938 because the last time I saw it, it was the terrible
It was
colorized version.
1938.
You know my secret now. No, it was the terrible colorized version.
I want to know who would have called you out for being 6 years off in the 1930s on that movie.
I said it with such confidence, and that kind of confidence really invites folks to call you on it, especially if you're wrong. So
it's the internet; everything is fact checked.
Yes, yeah. So it made the most sense to me to get out in front of that. Yeah, I mean, is that what you cooked in that air fryer, bud?
The main thing, and this may be lame, but Aldi's has really good veggie burgers.
Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
So it's like 16 grams of protein, but only like 90 calories or something.
Mm-hmm. Man, Aldi's is great. I love Aldi's.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
I have been warned though not to get the kale veggie burgers. Apparently, those are not good.
Okay, I've not tried them. Nice.
So wait, back to the Mummy though. Was it successful enough? You guys are going to do another movie night?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're maybe going to make it like a weekly or bi-weekly thing.
Sweet.
You need to cross the streams and air fry something for your next movie night.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Just throw some corn in that bad boy.
Sure.
Don't do that. That would immediately start a fire.
Yeah, the only difficulty is we did partway through find that our hummus had been invaded by slugs.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Wait, what?
Which is weird because, like, why specifically hummus? But also, I would think something that salty would just kill the slugs.
Yeah. I
So
don't know.
slugs were in the container that you purchased, or slugs around crawled into the container that was open?
Crawled into it. So, like, it was on the snack bar, and the slugs were like, "Hey, free food."
Okay.
I know that slugs are attracted to beer. Like that's how you get slugs in your yard. You put out a bowl of beer, and they'll all crawl into it. That's at least that's what my dad used to do anyway.
Damn, slugs are partiers.
Slugs party. Either that or my dad was really, either that or he was something was wrong with him when he decided to do that. No, maybe there's something like maybe the tahini sauce, like that being fermented makes them want to go for it. I don't know. Maybe.
Could be.
Yeah. Huh. Well, that sounds good. Dennis, how about you? Not the slugs. Sorry. That sounds terrible. But it's easy to correct for. Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, no slugs in my immediate past, but I spent the weekend in Toledo,
Okay.
visiting my new nephew.
Oh,
So,
nice.
Yeah, I got to hold a cute little baby, and then hand it back when it cried. That was real fun. And simultaneously, it was his older sister, so my niece's birthday. So we just got all the good uncle celebration in at once.
Oh, good.
But yeah, I think there's like a point of balance, I guess, when you got enough kids around the same age that haven't seen each other for a while in the house, like they really keep each other entertained.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like it's easy to hang out. So like it was a surprisingly relaxed weekend just because the kids were spoken for the entire time. So it was
awesome.
Good times.
Yeah.
I played with my brother and sister-in-law played Azul for the first time.
Ooh.
Wait,
So-
isn't that the like? Are we talking like there is only Zool?
No, we're talking tile placement, I think, right?
Was it square or diamond?
Square.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess technically both, depending on how you orient it. But yeah, it was a really cool game, and I think we're gonna pick it up for the next time we travel. Just because we had such a good time playing it. So yeah, saw a family, discovered a new board game. It was good times.
Fantastic. No, I grew up with a lot of cousins that were roughly my age, so that was anytime I hear about people getting to hang out with their cousins, that's neat. Ben?
So board game side note, there's two different versions of Azul. The base one's the square one, and then they came out with another version a couple of years later that's like a diamond type version or a trapezoid type version. But
wait, isn't a diamond just a sideways?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
All right. So you can take my math card away from me, but I'm pretty sure a diamond is just a rhombus, so it doesn't necessarily need to have right angles. I think is the definition of it.
Oh, okay. There's got to be a name for a diamond that has all right angles then.
A square tilted?
Square. But I've heard that the second version is better, but I have not played that myself, so I can't confirm that. But I'm just throwing that out there for your knowledge.
Well, the square version was pretty hip, so I'd be interested to see the other. I'm Googling now. I'm seeing a version also that has hexagons, so that they've taken it and run with it.
Huh. I think a diamond geographically would be a quadrilateral where the opposing angles were equal. So yeah, that I think that makes the most sense to me.
I think you're making things up.
And now I need to write a proof that is equal to being a rhombus, I guess.
So not all rectangles are squares, but all diamonds are kind of like squares, but not.
Yeah.
And any rhombus is all of them.
Yeah, I don't know if my definition of a diamond requires all of the sides to be the equal length, although it would necessarily be the case. So.
If I want like a nerdy math aside here is we don't actually use diamonds or whatever math, but at least in our school we use the term kites and darts for two different shapes when we're talking about quadrilaterals. But they use all the other normal stuff too, like rhombus and square and blah blah blah.
Yeah, huh. I don't know. Anyway, that's enough talking about geometry. I think we ought to talk about video games. What with the regular kind of show, the grind, the multiplayer, and the end boss. And why don't we get started with
the grind?
The grind, where we talk about the games we have been playing over the past period of time or so.
Wouldn't it be great if somebody was playing Geometry Wars?
I was gonna make the same joke.
Just segue into geometry again.
Staggeringly little geometry in Geometry Wars. It's mostly just shapes, but most video games involve shapes somehow. So
joke's on you. I was playing Thomas Was Alone.
Oh, that would be more appropriate.
No diamonds in Thomas Was Alone.
They'd be really hard to move. Have to balance them. Let's see here. I got to pick somebody at random. Ben.
All right, we're starting. I got one, and it's a big one. I've been playing Elden Ring for the past week.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, I put a good amount of time into it. I'm like at level like 64 or so. I've only done a single run through. I don't know how to talk about it, I guess.
What is okay? Which
Elden Ring?
Yeah, I got this podcast I'm doing, and I'm really behind on my prep. No,
guys, we can't vamp on Bonfire Side Chat any longer. We're eventually going to have to start talking about the game, so we should play it.
What regions have you been to?
So I've been to the starting region, the island below that, the castle, Stormvale Castle.
Okay.
Both halves of the lake. Was it the school of Ryua or whatever?
Raya Lucaria.
Yeah.
So back up. As a relative Elden Ring virgin, the Stormvale is straight out of Demon Souls, right?
Oh, is it?
Oh, you're thinking of oh gosh, it's not Storm. The Shrine of Storms.
Shrine of Storms.
Yeah.
And just for
Stormvale, isn't that where the humans are in World of Warcraft?
I don't know. It's been too long since I played that.
Probably.
I'm trying to describe these places just by their names without saying what they actually are because I don't want to spoil anything for people. But and then I've been to Kale is where I'm at now, and I think that I'm at a pretty good level for that. I think.
Yeah, Kale's a real pain.
Okay. And but I've done I have looked at the map. I have gone to the map for after I feel like I've pretty much cleared out an area, I'll go back there to check to see what I've missed, and then try and basically 100% areas
to check to see how I'm wrong.
Yeah. And yeah, I'll try and avoid like specifics though, because I do want to avoid spoilers, but but at a high level, this game is like Dark Souls, but they made it open world, and so it's like instead of playing the same stage like 10 different times to level up, they've copied the same enemies in 10 different places, and it's just a giant open world essentially. So you're still like kind of going through the same experience, but it's more like spread out, if that makes sense.
Is that true that they're kind of bespoke mob configurations?
Like the same enemies will appear in like multiple places a lot of times. They do follow like a pattern that a lot of open world games do, where there's kind of like templates for areas that will be repeated. So for example, there's a thing called like catacombs, where it's, you know, places where all the dead are. And that has like common enemy patterns and common like trap patterns to it. So
wait, but sorry, yep. I need a sanity check. Like I thought given enemies always spawn the same place, just like normal.
They do, but some have patrol patterns, so they'll pop up in different. So by the time you get to them, they may be in different places.
Okay.
And there are some like random enemy like boss encounters that you can't 100% replicate, or you have to like wait around, I guess.
Yeah, there are different bosses that pop up at different times of day, like the Knight's Cavalry that only pops up at night. Yeah,
I didn't know that was time of day dependent. Yeah, but the game otherwise, it's like a pretty good representation of a Dark Souls game, in my opinion. They added a couple of mechanics to it that are interesting. Like instead of just having like poison and venom, again, like I'm gonna miss like the continuum here, because I've played Dark Souls and I'm playing Elden Ring. I have not played anything in between, so I'm not sure how much of this stuff has been like iteratively added and how much of it is added for Elden Ring. Okay. But there's like a shit ton of like attribute modifiers. Like now there's like Frostbite, Madness, Crimson Rot, which is like, wow, what a beautiful name. That all like functionally do similar things, but maybe like slightly different from one another. And you have attributes that kind of protect yourself against them, and like different armors might protect yourself better against them.
Yeah, and you have access to inflict those on enemies.
How does bleed work in this Souls-like?
Bleed works the same way. Frost works similar to bleed. Crimson Rot works similar to poison.
Yeah. To be more specific for you, Dennis, bleed works exactly like it previously has. Does a fixed percentage of damage after the meter fills up. Frost is a little bit on loan from Dark Souls 3 to a certain extent, but I think instead of affecting your endurance recovery in this, it impairs your ability to heal if you get frostbitten.
Ooh.
Like you can still heal, but it will you heal less.
And is Madness the same as Bloodborne? Because that was just bleed and Bloodborne, right?
No, I mean it was similar to So it's
similar to bleed, but it progressively takes your health away as it builds up, I think.
Yeah, it progressively takes your health away, and it is a larger percentage than bleed.
Yeah.
Also, like the conditions on which bleed or madness will build up is different than frenzy.
Is it if you're looking at a source, like your madness builds up? I couldn't tell.
It's if your character is within line of sight of the enemy.
So they brought that bullshit back.
So it doesn't immediately kill you. Is the thing.
Okay, I just remember the freaking jailers from 3, and then the winter lanterns that just
cause the brain spikes to pop out, and in Bloodborne it's way too much. It's basically instant death. In this, it's still an emergency when you see it building up, but like Ben said, you do get the ability to improve stats or put on gear that is like geared towards specific. There are derived stats from your gear that are geared towards preventing or reducing the buildup of specific status threats, let's say.
Yeah. And then on the other side of things, like the on your attacking or what you're doing to the enemies, they have a system for summons and an upgrade system for summons. Mm-hmm. Was this in previous games, or was this introduced in Elden Ring?
This is new for Elden Ring. So you can summon. You could always summon people to help you at bosses and such. This with the Spirit Calling Bell, where you can summon the ghost enemies to help you. That is brand new.
Yeah. So it works similar to an OG Dark Souls, where you'd like summon a random person to help you at a boss battle, and even if you're like offline, you could do this for certain boss battles. Instead, what they have here is you have like dedicated summons that you can summon over and over again, like a pack of wolves or a pack of jellyfish or people or guards or whatever. And instead of it being just at boss battles, they have like dedicated areas where you can summon these people, like if there's like a mini boss or maybe a mob of people. And then the nice thing about it is like your weapon system, you can upgrade this by like finding different resources and paying souls to upgrade it once you find a person. Just found out about that within the last day or two, and that's definitely a game changer because your summons actually like stick and will make it to the end of like a boss battle and are like huge assets.
Sorry, I've got an off-topic question about summons when you're done.
No, go for it. Go for it now. We can come back to it.
Does the jellyfish summon ever get more of a backstory?
I don't know,
because that's the only one I know of that like actually has a name and like a backstory in its description.
So there are legendary summons that will like have a specific name to them. The fact that the jellyfish has a name, it does pay off later, like basically right at the end of the game.
Okay, because that is adorable and
yeah. Basically, the entire story is in the description. That it seems like it is yearning for a long lost homeland. And the fact that it responds to a name, that's pretty much it. But there is closure to the story.
Sweet.
Yeah. I was incorrect about Frostbite. What it does is it lowers your damage absorption and your stamina recovery.
Okay. So wait, don't you not want to absorb damage?
No, what it does is so by lowering your damage absorption, it means that you take more damage. It makes you more brittle, basically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In general, whenever you see a meteor filling up, you want to run away and stop it from filling up. The other thing that's a big change in this game is like having a mount. So that's like the first summon, quote unquote, you get. It doesn't behave like the other ones, but it's just something that you can call at any time using the square button or whatever, or the X button if you're on Xbox. And it summons a mount that you can ride with, and you can no longer like block with a shield. Instead, like those buttons are dedicated to swinging on the right side of the horse versus the left side of the horse.
Yeah.
So it definitely changes how you do combat. Like combat becomes this weird thing where you're timing doing the strike just right. And I think you have like at least with my character, you have like a chain of 3 attacks with it. And so it's all about just trying to time the attack right. So you can kind of gallop by an enemy, strike them 3 times, and then run away if they're powerful. But it basically gives you a huge buff. Like you can take down enemies you couldn't normally take down one-on-one with it just because you're so much more mobile and you can kind of get in and get out. So those are the big changes. Art style is pretty incredible. Like, all the places you go to are just like, they're just, each one's like very differentiated from one another, and they're all like pretty beautiful. They kind of it kind of feels like a Zelda game in a sense. There
are lots of comparisons to Breath of the Wild.
Okay. They have like what they call like legacy dungeons in this game, which are like, because there's a lot of like small like asides. Like I mentioned like crypts before is like a common one where it's like tiny little dungeon, maybe similar to Skyrim in a sense, where it's like it'll take you like 5 or 10 minutes, or maybe like I don't know, 10 to 20 minutes to clear out. And there's a long path. There's a reward at the end. You might double back to the entrance, or there's like a portal that takes you back or something like that. So very similar flow to something like that. But they have larger places that are called legacy dungeons that are like more fleshed out and bigger areas, might have several save points within them, but they're all like kind of this very singular place that is very differentiated from the rest of the places you're at.
Every legacy dungeon is like 2 Dark Souls dungeons put together.
Okay. I mean, it seems I felt pretty 1-to-1 with some of the biomes, like in the first Dark Souls, like it doesn't seem dissimilar to like a Sen's Fortress or something like that in scope, or like fucking Blight Town in scope. But yeah, anyway, narratively, I'm not 100% sure what's going on. I mean, it just kind of is a Dark Souls game. The overarching goal is you have like 6 people you need to kill, and and maybe you win after that. I don't know. But that's kind of what they tell you from the get-go. So it's kind of like the second half of Dark Souls from the beginning. And I think one improvement they have over Dark Souls, instead of like in that one, in Dark Souls, where they're just like, you need to collect like 4, like, was it Lord Vassal souls or whatever, and once you get to the end, you're done. With this one, they give you like an award for each person you take out. That's a little bit bespoke. And then they have like an interesting system behind it, where it's like, I'll give you an example of the first one you get. Some minor spoiler, is you get it's called like a Great Rune, and there's items that you pick up towards the mid part of the game called, I think, Rune Arcs, and they're usable. And what they do is they activate whatever Great Rune you have attached to you. So I think you can only choose one at a time. But the first one that you get boosts all your stats by 5 points if you use it, which is incredible. However, once you die, that's gone, and you need to spend another rune arc to activate it again. And they're somewhat limited items. They're not everywhere, but they're in some places. So that was a real bummer, finding out that was like a temporary benefit and not a permanent one.
Yeah, you have to use a relatively rare item to activate it.
Yeah. So I was a little bit bummed out by that, because it's like, I mean, I guess I see the idea where it's like, okay, maybe I'll use this in a boss battle, but I think more likely than not, what I do is I usually just grind out the boss battles and like, just get to a state where I'm trying it over and over again. So I can, and generally, you learn stuff with each iteration and you kind of beat it that way.
That one in particular is good if there's like a piece of gear that you want to be able to use for a battle, or like a spell if you're doing a caster. Like, okay, I don't want to put in the levels to get this, to be able to cast this, but if I use Godric's Great Rune, then I'll be able to cast it for this next encounter. Like, so that was a good use case for that.
I get that, but then like, what's to say that you're likely to beat it the first time, right? Or like, I feel like it's hard to know when you should equip it, because it's like, if you equip it the first time and then you die right away, then it's like, oh well, I wasted that, and now I have a harder time with the boss battle.
It'll be like generally I had a lot of those. I hoarded them.
Okay.
But like I would do it on maybe like the second or third try if I knew what spell I wanted to, if I had a spell in mind that I wanted to try. And if it works, Yahtzee. If it doesn't work, okay, that's data.
Yeah, the one thing that's interesting is your summons cost an amount of, I think it's like, is it HP or MP? I forget what they call it, but
there's only one that costs your HP. All the rest of them cost your focus.
Okay, so FP, is that what the set's called then? Focus points?
Yes. Yeah. Okay, it's like your mana.
Yeah. Essentially, it's your mana meter. So there's certain ones you can't summon if you haven't like upgraded that stat, which I haven't at all. And so that's like another thing too, is like, you might be able to summon something else if you get this like Great Rune active. But anyway, so I've gotten 2 of the Great Runes so far. I think the first 2. So that's kind of how far I am through the game. I think I'm going to go through Kale, and then I'll progress counterclockwise throughout the map. But it's good. It's at certain points it's kind of tough to track like what the progress on everything is on all the edges of where you've touched. But it starts to make sense after a while. I mean, there's no shortage of things to explore. So I don't know how much more to say about it outside of that. I'm per last week, I think we talked about it. So I'm rolling a dex build with a Uchigatana, started out as samurai class. I think Uchigatana is like plus 9 or 10 right now.
Cool.
So the bleed is really helpful. So even if you have like a really tanky enemy, like it'll still eventually kill it. The ones I'm thinking of specifically are like the tentacle monsters, like on the ocean or whatever, where it's like you might as well be like flicking it when you like stab it, but once the bleed build hits, that actually does something. Yeah. So
bleed is very powerful right now. They have the fact that they haven't debuffed it kind of makes it seem like that's what they wanted it to be.
Okay. Yeah, so the only stats I've upgraded really are Vigor, Dex, and Endurance. And Vigor is Vitality. So they're all about in the 30s right now, I think. Maybe the low, mid-30s. So, yeah.
If you progress the side quest with Ronnie... you're going to get a bunch of the materials necessary for respecking. I would recommend experimenting with that. Respecs are relatively cheap in the game.
Yeah, so I have the items for respec, and then the second Great Rune you get allows you to respec, or at least the one that I got.
Yes.
So I have that ability now. I think what I'm waiting for is, I know one of the weapons that's also a bleed one is like a Dex Int weapon instead of Dex Strength, which is the current one I have. So I might respec once I get that, or I don't know, poke around for other weapons to try and see if there's some other combo that looks really good, and then respec for that. But that's definitely on my mind, but I haven't done that yet. Like, but if there's something where I can focus on 2 attributes instead of 3, and like try and buff that up, then I think that's kind of what I want to go for. But
nice,
yeah.
I'm happy you're enjoying it.
Yeah, I like it. It's tough for me to talk about because I haven't played any of the other games in the series, so I don't really know how it compares like to everything in between. But yeah, and then just like in general, like comment, the monster design is just like so goofy, you know.
What's your favorite so far?
Man, it's like, so I guess like minor spoilers on surprises, but it's like the people that swing the axes, where it's really just like a tentacle monster on the inside, is like okay, and then animate pots that just have like these buff arms. Like, what? Okay,
including one who's like your best bud.
Yeah. And then like the monkey soldiers, you know, who like throw smoke bombs, like you feel like you're in the movie Congo. It's like, there's a lot of ones that are just really goofy like that. This was one I was proud of today. Is for the first time in a crypt boss battle, they have like a common boss in them. I think there's maybe like 2 different types, but one of them's like this like. It's called like a dog guard, but it looks like a cat, kind of.
The item descriptions call it a feline hound, which to me is that is a contradiction in terms.
So it's like cat dog, but in Dark Souls. But I was able to fight 2 of them and like defeat that, and so that was like that felt good. But and then just in general, like I have been using the map. Like there's a map that tells you like, go to this area when you're like 20 to 30, or go here when you're like 30 to 40.
You're fine with that.
Yeah. But that has been super helpful, but then it also makes it somewhat satisfying because it's like, okay, I know I can go to this area and I'll actually like win the boss battles possibly on first try, especially now that I have like the ashes like upgraded and stuff. And that just feels nice. Like, not that like a tough boss battle isn't that I'm against that. Like I've done that with the Great Runes for sure, where I've kind of played those each like 5 to 10 times before I've won. But yeah, anyway, yeah.
Nice. I mean, you covered all the questions that I would have had. Did you find the elevator?
Which one?
There are a couple.
I found 2, and I found one that I don't know how to get to work.
Yeah.
So, and I found there's a lot of mechanisms to transport you to random parts of the map in the game, and so I found those. And those are somewhat fun.
Those are surprising.
You know, it's if they didn't have the fast travel system, they would be much more harrowing. But
yes,
as it is, I think it's fine. It's more like you more enjoy it because it's like, all right, let me just look for a bonfire real quick. I'll come back here later when I'm at the appropriate level. But minor gripe. I'll say this: the gestures being tied to holding triangle and then doing something. I trigger that so many times when I'm not trying to, and that's very frustrating. Where it's like I'll be running around and like mad tapping and trying to pick up a bunch of items, and then my guy will just start pumping his fist while there's a monster behind me that's like lining up an attack. Cool. And then the other one is when you're riding the horse. If you press down on the left stick,
you jump off.
Yes, you jump off and you go to like crouch mode, and it's like, nope, not trying to do that. I'm trying to run away from this bad guy. Please give me my horse back.
There's an option to turn off the motion gestures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I might have to turn that on then.
It's funny that those fire for you because I can never get the motion gestures to fire. I always have to go into my quick bar.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm not. Don't worry. I don't have complete control over it. I know if you hold it and you just shake the controller like in a back and forth, like in a clockwise motion or something. I know that triggers like a wave, but that's the farthest that I've dug into it. The rest are randomly triggering, seemingly.
You can map them all to different movements.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, anyway, how far are you in the game, Kole? What's your level?
I mean, I've got I think 3 characters. I don't know what the main one is because it's on New Game Plus, and I stopped paying attention to level. Sure. My priest, like my faith caster, is I think like 40 or something like that.
Okay.
And I've got an arcane guy that I just kind of started out at there's like at 25, probably still incredibly early.
Okay.
For making progress in the show, to cover for the show because I play each area and make notes on it. Yeah. I'm using my New Game Plus character because I'm over leveled for a lot of the stuff already, and I can. It just makes it easier to make progress and make an outline. So yeah.
And then where are you guys at on the show? Like, what area are you doing at
the show? We're just about to get into Stormvale. As of recording, as of what just came out, the first episode of the Weeping Peninsula just came out.
Okay, and that's like hard to tell because like Stormvale, at least on the map on the wiki, it says that you can go there with like level 20 to 30 or something, but realistically, you need to be like 40 to 50. I think
it's a spicy area. Yeah. That courtyard.
Yeah, their equivalent of like the is it the Black Knights who are in Dark Souls are much more aggressive in this game and much harder to like. I haven't even tried
what you meant
them.
to say is very cheap.
Yeah, the Crucible Knights are a real pain in the ass.
Yeah,
that's something that. Sorry, this is going to be a little bit my soapbox, but that's something that I think has actually gotten significantly worse as the series has progressed. Is the like knight style enemies that are in pretty much every game. It just seems like they've progressively put more and more auto aim on them.
I will say something about Dark Souls is like each of the enemies, there's usually like a trick to them. And then once you figure it out, they're really easy. But in this one, it doesn't, I just haven't figured out the tricks for some of the enemies, and that's probably it. But like for most of the enemies, it's like, all right, you just need to bash them until they die and then just roll out of the way and heal when you get a shot,
The trick for the Crucible Knights is parrying.
Yeah.
Right, which is bullshit. Sorry.
I mean, that's what it was in Dark Souls too. I don't think I haven't engaged with the parry system as much in this game as other games. It's more like I just try and jump attack and then roll away, which jump attack is fun though. That's a new mechanic in this game versus the old one.
Jump attack and guard counter, they're amazing.
Yeah, that's a build I want to do is just like strength based and just dual wield hammers and like jump attack everybody. Yeah. And then the other thing is I haven't really integrated with interacted with the crafting system that much. Only a couple of times when there's like items that I want. From my understanding, I think eventually you can craft things that you actually care about, but I haven't gotten that yet. So, yeah.
See, I use it for like arrows and stuff a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't sleep on like the throwable status pots. Yeah, those are really good.
Okay, I should probably investigate into that then. From what I understand, it's like so you collect pots and those can hold potions that you can throw, But when you throw the potion is gone, but the pot's still there. Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of like different kinds of item bottles in Zelda. Yeah.
Okay. So okay, that makes sense. But in this case, they're all like grenades. So it's like the number of pots you have is like your ammo count.
Maximum ammo count at a given time. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's probably another good edge to have. That's one thing I like about both the games, though, is like once you understand the mechanics of the game is easy, but it's kind of and I think that's common of a lot of games that are like Japanese, where they don't explicitly tell you everything. It's not like holding your hand tutorial type thing.
It's definitely a FromSoft thing. Yeah.
So, okay, cool. I think that's all I have to say. Any questions about it? From you?
No.
Cool. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Stoking my game boner for Elden Ring.
One last thing I'll say is I'm playing it on PS5. I specifically do not have like PlayStation Online, and I saw like a Reddit post over the week where people were like, "Oh, that's terrible! Like you have to like buy an online thing if you want to play it." And on my perspective, I'm like, "This is great! Like I can't be invaded. Like this is how I want to play the game. I just want to be left alone. I don't want to be bothered." Yeah.
Especially since maybe this is just me, but I was really disappointed with the messages this time around. Previous games, it was a lot of useful messages, a lot of like clever ones. Occasionally like people doing the like telling you to jump off things, but in places where that was actually believable. Whereas here, I'd say it's like 99% worthless messages.
Yeah.
That is something that is always the case at launch, and then it sorts itself out. Also, if you're on PlayStation, you can join the Duckfeed group, message group, capital F flock, FLOCK, with the capital F, and then you can if you decide that you only want good messages, you can read the messages that are in circles. And I have not seen anybody do no hidden path ahead, but praise the message, or bad stuff like that.
That's really cool. That's a new feature a la Elden Ring?
Yes, yeah, it's a group password.
That is so cool. That is brilliant.
Yeah, so like group summons, you'll be able to see. And like if somebody has dropped a summon sign, like theirs will be highlighted, and group messages get a little symbol around them.
Sweet. Super cool.
Yeah, I think the thing I most miss, and I think it was Moon who brought this up, was the ultimate Soulsborne message is when there's a incredibly specific message and you're like, what the hell is this? And then you go forward and get attacked in that very specific way, and like, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, all right. No, now I get it.
I just want to meet the person that reads
werewolf but behind.
Yeah. The person who reads that message is like, got it, and perfectly handles the thing on the first try.
That's good.
I still remember the message from Dark Souls after you beat the prison jailer, the first boss or whatever, and says, like, when you leave that, it's like, good job, now keep going ahead. It's like, oh, thanks, game. Felt like a proud father.
Nice. Dennis, how about you? What you been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing a couple things. I want to check in from Resident Evil, Rainbow Six. I can talk. Extraction, which I've kind of been low key playing ongoing. They just got a big kind of update where they introduced a new mode that is very fun.
Okay.
Overall, go ahead.
So what's the mode?
For anyone who hasn't played or heard of our R6 Extraction, it is like a co-op shooter where you're trying to clear zones of these like alien/zombie monsters, but you're playing with like Rainbow Six Siege characters. The mode is called Nightmare Fog, and it's the zones you've been playing in, but now they're filled with this fog that one limits visibility, but then two, if you stay in it too long, causes you to start hallucinating, which is really, really interesting. So you'll start seeing enemies that aren't there. And if you pay very close attention, like if you're using equipment that can scan for enemies, they won't show up in that scanning equipment. If you listen, they don't make sounds. But when you turn a corner and suddenly see a zombie about to hit you, you kind of freak out. So it's very effective at adding kind of a bit more of like a horror jump scare element, because you're more likely to be surprised. So anyway, yeah, basically, your toxin bar is divided into thirds, and each time you cross a third threshold, your frequency of seeing hallucinated enemies goes up. And then if you completely fill your bar, you'll just start taking damage slowly over time.
And then does it go away at some point, or is it just like that for the rest of the match?
There are I forget what they call it, like neuro enhancers. It's very Tom Clancy, where they put a sciencey name on essentially just a magic item. And so you can reduce your neurotoxin levels by going into these safe rooms that also have like the fog blocked out. And there will be drops in there. So it for the Extraction is a very tactical game where you can play it very slowly and very carefully, scout out everything, get all headshots and kind of live that fantasy of like the perfect operative team clearing an area. Nightmare Fog makes it so that you have to be going at breakneck speed when you're going from point to point. It doesn't get rid of the tactical elements, so you're not just YOLOing it, but you have to kind of do all your scouting from one place and then decide like, okay, how's the best way to get through this objective quickly, and then kind of execute it as fast as possible so that you don't wind up hallucinating.
Does it ever make your teammate look like an enemy?
That would be cool. I have not seen it yet, though. I think that is one small kindness.
Does it ever make an enemy look like your teammate?
No, not that I've seen. But it feels like a layup. But for reasons that may be based in how hard that would be to code, or maybe they just wanted to stay focused in what they did. Yeah, it's just purely enemies that aren't there. But like I said, in a tactical game, especially if you're not playing with a silenced weapon, shooting someone that's not there can be very, very bad, because now you've given away your position and brought a bunch of other people down on you that are actually there when you might not have wanted to.
Yeah, but we have a term for not using a silenced weapon. It's called being wrong.
I don't know, man. I've played Extraction with silenced weapons only for the longest time. Then I played with a non-silenced weapon and saw how much extra damage it does. And now that I have that as a reference point, I'm going non-silenced more often than not. I always bring a silenced sidearm, so you get like your main weapon and a sidearm. But the primary, I almost always take unsilenced, because it's like I can kill things with 2 or 3 shots that are taking me the entire clip otherwise.
Yeah, and shotguns definitely are worthless silenced.
Oh, so. Totally. Yeah. It's just funny to see what a shotgun silencer looks like, or at least what the concept artists imagine that it looks like in the game, though.
Just watch No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It is weird the degree to which that movie was what introduced like pop culture to the idea that shotgun silencers are a thing.
Yeah, so that's the new mode. That's a lot of fun. There's also a new item tied to that mode, which is essentially like a invincibility buff, where you shoot someone with this rush pistol and they're invincible and faster for 15 seconds. And so again, when you decide it's go time, and if you've unlocked that, you get that extra boost. The other thing they did, which is going to keep me playing this game forever because I like seeing numbers go up, is they've added prestige levels for all the operators. So you could level them up originally just 1 through 10, and once you hit 10, you kind of had maxed them out. Now you can, once you hit that point, get 10 prestige levels on top of that. You're only getting new cosmetics for them. You're not getting new abilities. But I must have the shiny golden circle around all of my operatives.
Of course.
So, if anyone wants to play Rainbow Six Extraction, hit me up, and you can still do that if you're listening to this like 30 years later. Because
that's a little, probably a little optimistic.
I don't know, man. You need 1 million XP to fully level up each operator, and there are 19 operators, and if you do well on a mission, you'll probably get about 50,000. So you're talking, full mission 20 times 19. It's a lot of gaming to do, but that's fun to me.
Nice.
So that's Extraction, new stuff coming out. It's also nice to see this game that's kind of felt like a little kind of side hustle being supported. Like they're doing a good job with it. So I appreciate that. That's Extraction for now. Any questions on that?
No, that new mode sounds good.
It's fun. It's led to some really good jump scares.
Yeah.
But yeah, especially in a game like that, that initial feeling of like spookiness or scariness kind of wears off as you get better and better and are more familiar with it. So to have that injected back in is kind of fun.
Yeah.
I also decided to kind of take a trip down memory lane, and I started playing the original Gears of War.
Oh, well, yeah. I suppose that would be on Game Pass, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's specifically it's a remastered version, so I don't know exactly if they changed very much beyond upping the graphics. But man, playing Gears of War is like reading a history book. It is like, this is the original stop and pop shooter, right? That kind of popularized that genre.
I mean, Contra probably. And then a little bit before that, there was a game called Kill Switch on PS2 that was over the shoulder cover based kind of thing. But yeah, you popularized it.
Yeah, I absolutely popularized it.
Hey, you can tell me to fuck off if you want.
You'll just edit it out. I know how this goes. No, but like on top of that, so it's just kind of like looking at this mechanic in its nascency. You're also seeing like the next gen equals gray. Yeah. At its height, this game is so fucking gray, you guys.
Yeah.
And the insistence on having a squad with you also baffles me. I think it's because you can play it multiplayer. So that makes sense. But half the time when I see my squad mate, it gets confusing because it's like it looks like an enemy because everyone is just a gray blob. And everything is, concrete hallways with waist-high walls throughout. And waist-high walls, I might add, always at right angles. They're very, very particular about that. So just it's interesting seeing all that stuff. That it's also like, ooh, we could swear in games now. Let's do all the swears.
We got Bender here. He's not on network television anymore, so let's make him cuss.
Yeah, it is going back to very, very humorous. Good God, I hope I never actually talked to my buddies that way. In high school, college, or otherwise, like
probably more than you think.
Yeah, the broness of the time has really not aged well.
Yeah. I forget. Did you? This is kind of a side note, but did you ever play the original Stalker?
I played a little bit. I didn't really play far enough to have it get really weird, but I technically still have it.
Did you ever play far enough to get to what they think? Americans apparently talk to each other like?
No.
Oh yeah. It's really bad.
Yeah. Dialogue in this is not great. But it is, the core of it is still very fun. And the birth of active reload as well. Like that's a ton of fun. In general, the shooting just feels really good. And stopping and popping, there's a reason that genre was popular. So that's a good time.
Well, it was popular and stopular.
Yeah. Fuck off, Kole. That was good. No, I appreciate that. The one thought I have is I've kind of charged my way through this game like a wrecking ball. At a certain point, there's like the little mini enemies that charge you. The idea behind it is really good. Like it kind of flushes you out of cover. But at a certain point in the game, they decide they're going to make them explosive. Yep. And they're just going to have a million of them in every section of the game, to the point where like you stop seeing the normal like enemies that you shoot, and it's just like one or two normal enemies, and then 15 of these, it's like wraiths or wretches or something like that. And so an entire section of the game, you just have this one enemy that they were way too in love with. And so that got annoying. But that's really the one point of friction I've had with the game. It's been a good time.
So how does the core train age?
Pretty well. It is not overtly offensive. I think probably because he is in the context of everyone being that over the top.
Everyone's a cartoon.
Exactly. And so, he fits in with the tone of everything else.
Makes sense.
But yeah, still likable, I guess. Of the four people in your party, I probably enjoy hearing his lines the most.
He's not as moody as Dominic.
Yes.
Yeah. So one thing I remember about the game is just like the settings being like gorgeous, and them like combining a lot of unique effects with it. Like they have like perfect dark in that game, but then just like the sunlight of like the ancient Roman type city or whatever. Like, does all that stuff hold up with the upgraded graphics?
No, not at all. It is gray. It is just super duper gray. And like, yes, I know what you're talking about. Like you said, there, has some of that areas that feel like they tried to give them personality by being like kind of Roman or, glowing acid pits. But it is just overwhelmingly oppressively gray. Okay. And I think that's because a lot of new next gen games were just like that at the time. And so maybe, viewed through the lens of that set, there might be cool stuff in it, but viewed in the lens of like, we have a world with Horizon Zero Dawn and games like that. It is just blech. It is it's hard to see things at times.
Yeah.
But whatever. I'm having a good time with that. So, that is Gears of War. It's like the Master Edition or the whatever. They came up with a marketing name for rebooting it or remaking it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, because I know they were figuring so many things out or trying so many at the time new things with it, I kind of want to keep on playing and try like Gears 2, etc., just to watch it evolve. Like I think that could be really fun. The roadie run is very interesting because like I remember that being like a big thing that they did and seeing like watching videos where that's what they were talking about as this new feature they put in. But I just want to turn off that camera shake.
Yeah,
it's like, oh no, motion sickness. I get that it feels like you're in the combat, but I also don't want to feel that much like I'm in the combat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's Gears of War and Extraction. The only other thing I've been playing, and I've been playing just a little bit, is a game called Donut County.
Oh yeah, that's fun and cute.
It is just that, and a delightful little distraction with no fail state that I can find. Which is great. That is fun. But you play, basically it's Katamari Damacy with a hole instead of a ball.
So it's inverse Katamari Damacy?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
you gotta get move the hole around the ground and drop things into your hole, and then stop it. And then the hole gets bigger and you can drop bigger things into it until you've vacuumed up everything in the level. Your motivation for doing so is the subject of the cutscenes in the game, which are very cute and well written.
Yeah.
And exactly. Exactly who was doing it seems pretty clear. Exactly why or how much they knew that they were doing it is explored in very quirky and funny ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That raccoon needs to get his shit together.
He really does. He's a little too big for his britches too. So. So not much to say other than that. It's another Game Pass game. It is good to. I've been playing on my phone, so that is good with cloud streaming. And yeah, that's just a little couple seconds of delight wherever you want it.
Yeah.
If you care to get it out.
Yeah, fun little physics puzzle.
Mm-hmm. So that's what I've been playing.
Cool. David, how about you?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot of particularly interesting stuff. Been continuing playing through Destiny, or Destiny 2, I guess, with their Guardian Games event that I think I mentioned last time is basically a competition for which of the classes can score the most points over the course of, I think, 3 weeks. It's kind of fun, although it is, I don't know, amazing just how hostile this game is to new players. There's a whole bunch of like rewards paths basically that you just straight up can't even try to get if you aren't at the level cap effectively. Or I guess you can try, you'll just get stomped into the ground.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, the PvP VE or whatever, I'm not sure if I had the right letters in that mode they have is a lot of fun. It's basically you're competing to kill enemies and pick up the items they drop and deposit those at like a central location. And in then once you collect 100 of those drops, a boss enemy appears and you have to take it down. And both teams are doing this at the same time. So whichever defeats their respective boss first wins. However, every so many, it's either time-based or every so many deposited points, I'm not sure which, a portal opens to the other team's side, so one of your members can go over and attempt to interfere with the other team.
So can you straight up gank them, or is it just like taking their resources?
No, straight up, yeah, it becomes just normal PvP. You can just shoot them. And that's most important because every time a player dies, the final boss, regains about a third of its HP.
Whew.
Yeah, that's rough.
Yeah. So overall, it's a lot of fun. I will say there is, and this is across the board in all their PvP modes, there's a lot of gamesmanship of like basically saving up all of your abilities until the very end and just, basically losing the entire game, but then winning at the end because you can just, unleash all your abilities all at once.
Does that still require skill to do correctly, or is it more like if you're able to save that long, you're going to win?
I don't know. I guess it depends on your definition of skill. Like it requires you to do a thing. I would consider like purposely not doing well for most of the game not to be skill, but I'm not a competitive gamer.
Well, so purposely not doing well, you're getting by without using resources, right?
Yeah, although I think it's in a lot of instances though, it's explicitly losing.
Oh, is there rubber banding or that's crazy.
From what I've seen, it just seems like this is actually less so in the Crucible mode, but it just seems like the abilities are so devastating that they can often make up. Basically, it seems like the abilities are disproportionately powerful. But yeah, I don't know. That's something I have a lot of thought about because I really liked the PvP in Destiny, but they've changed it a lot to try to appeal to competitive gamers, and I think it's much, much worse now. In particular, it seems like they've about halved the time to kill. Stuff like that. So they made it much less of a thinking game than a reflex game.
Is that a function of like weapon power creep?
I don't think so because everything normalizes.
Do you have any insight into why they might prefer the like hardcore players? Like, do they have like tournaments and stuff on this? Like, monthly?
I think it's just the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
Okay.
But I don't know. I'll be honest. Like the game has kind of fallen apart, so I almost certainly do not give it the benefit of the doubt. I would normally give most games just because of how blatantly a money grab it is.
Yeah, it sounds like you're not having fun.
The price is right.
I guess.
Yeah,
Well,
I know. I would
back?
just say like it's kind of cornered the market on shooters. So,
have you tried Extraction?
Yes.
Ouch.
But such is life. But yeah. Other than that, I found a new trick on Idle Champions that's kind of fun. There's a character that is a cleric of some sort of celestial phoenix, whose special ability is that a certain percent, basically every order of magnitude of HP they've healed during a run, they have an ability where every time they attack an enemy, they give it a debuff that causes it to receive more damage from all other sources. And that debuff increases with the order of magnitude of total healing they've done.
Okay.
And you can unlock an ability that allows her to basically heal allies even when they're at full health. So it won't do anything, but it will, it will still count towards the total healing done.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's another character, Artemis Entreri, who's like the edgelord from the Drizzt novels.
Yeah, he was Dark Drizzt. He was the assassin who was conflicted and made into a kind of main character, and he had a couple of books with Jarlaxle. Yeah.
Right. And so his special ability is basically any buff that applies to a different character will also apply to him with a multiplier.
Okay.
And so normally when you play as him, like it's his gameplay is all about trying to position to maximize this, and it's really interesting gameplay. But what you can do is use that to basically make sure this cleric is healing everyone in the party. He's observing these healing buffs and getting a multiplied version of that. And so you can just send the total healing done through the roof.
Okay.
Which in turn buffs her debuff. And basically, you don't even have to use Artemis for anything. You just put him in your party for a few minutes to build up this buff for the run, and then put in someone more useful in his place.
He's like a force multiplier, like a scout kind of guy.
Right, exactly. So, That seems to be what a lot of this game's real gameplay comes down to, is like figuring out edge cases on the characters to break the game.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That may or may not be interesting to people that don't like grinding a lot, but I enjoy it.
Well, you know, I see you playing it right now, so.
Oh, am I playing it?
No, I have seen it log on and off a couple of times.
Okay.
Yeah. I am also not calling you out. I get it. It's an idle game. It is made not to pay attention to. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, just hearing some of those names though. Man, Forgotten Realms is good.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. Cool. So you had Destiny 2 and Idle Champions? Is that what it was? Okay, cool. Want to make sure I got everything. I had 2, and it was only the ones that I streamed over the weekend. But I plan to start and finish Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, which is a popular game with streamers because it's it's right there in the name. It's got jump scares.
I wonder why.
And really not a lot of jump scares in this bad boy. Gotta tell you.
Really?
Yeah.
False advertising.
Really, the closest thing to jump scares is so the idea is like, oh, there's this mansion that people go into and they don't come out of. It is owned by this ghost girl named Spooky. And there are 1,000 rooms in it, and you have to, go. It's I think 50 rooms per floor, and then you find an elevator, and then go down a floor. And it's kind of a combination of like procedurally generated floors and kind of defined challenge room areas. The closest that you get to jump scares that I saw was, it starts out being like a real cute game, like how could this be scary? It's real slow. And, the jump scare is you're walking down the hallway and then like a little cardboard cutout of like a ghost hamburger pops up and it's all, it's all cute, and doesn't even like really make it. No, it's just a ghost hamburger with a little smiley face on it or whatever. And of course it starts out cutesy like that, but it is meant to escalate and it becomes less about jump scares and more about different kinds of things pursuing you. And the different things that pursue you in the different biomes or the different floors, they have different rules for how you have to get away from them.
Please tell me that the ghost hamburger starts pursuing you.
Not that I saw. Maybe, possibly. Well, so it's kind of like an SCP thing where the whole mansion is meant to study these anomalies or whatever. I thought that it like the cardboard cutouts were just things that were put in. No, that's actually one of the entities. Like it is a thing that goes around and just kind of pops out, and they're trying to study it, and you read like the computer notes about it, and it says like this actually isn't that successful. We're going to continue testing, but only for the infirm and people with heart conditions. Have we seen any effectiveness? Have we seen any real lethality for it?
So tone wise, does the game? You said it gets a little bit more scary in that you're being chased. Does the tone ever stop being jokey? Does it do like Pony Island or something?
So I wish I could tell you. However, I got about halfway through the game. I got roughly like floor 400 or something like that, and no. So it wasn't. It's 1,000. It's 1,000 floors, but like I had a half an hour left to go in the stream, and I had reached like let's say floor number like 380, 390, something like that. I had plenty of room. I had plenty of time to get through because the actual rooms are really small, right?
But wait. I thought you said it was 50 rooms per floor, and there are 1,000 rooms. Isn't that only like 20 floors?
Oh no, sorry. I misspoke. What I meant to say was I got to room number 400 or so, not floor number 400.
Okay, gotcha.
Apologies.
Okay.
Yeah. So I got there, and a new kind of enemy showed up that I just couldn't figure out how to surmount, and it killed me. And because no, it's like a puppet thing that does a little bit of a, it only moves if you're not looking at it kind of deal.
It's those.
Yeah, the weeping angel kind of thing. And it killed me. Like it a lot of stuff, if it catches up to you, like you have like 3 hits before you die, and there's regenerating health. Like it took me a while to figure this out. So I died, and it sent me back to the save point. As far as I can tell, you can only save at the beginning of every floor, so every 50 or 25 rooms or something like that. All right, and so I went back and went through, and then I went like 30, maybe 40 rooms ahead. Just like, man, it has been a very long time since I saved, and I lost and I died, and then it sent me back by a half hour, basically, of progress.
That's not good.
Yeah, in a 4-hour game, roughly, is what it should have been. And I was like, no, you don't get to do that and have me still play you. No, you don't. No. So I stopped. That was like, okay, one night it had its chance. I lost too much progress and got discouraged. So bye Spooky's House of Jump Scares. Somebody with more patience can probably deal with that.
It had one shot and it lost its chance to blow.
Yeah,
the checkpointing was the jump scare.
Yes, yeah. The jump scare was when I saw what floor it sent me back to.
So if you were a screamer streamer, would this have jump scares?
No, I think there was only one.
So even then,
I think that this. You could always play it up. There was only like one thing when a real enemy got the jump on me when I didn't expect it to, where it was kind of like, it was more of a startler, not a really anything else.
Not a screamer.
Yeah. Blah. The other thing that I played, it's very difficult to call it a game, but I think that it warrants mentioning anyway. It's called Dagon. It is like a video game adaptation of the H.P. Lovecraft short story. That was kind of the
really going for Mad Redneck.
Dagon? Oh,
Dagon.
No. Yeah.
Oh, see, I was thinking maybe this was
prequel to Days Gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there we go. That was a good alley-oop right there. Yeah. No. It's almost like it's designed for VR, but I streamed it just playing it in 2D because it has that mode. You're not even really walking around. It's like a collection of scenes where the only gameplay is like looking for like the little node in the scene that will take you to the next little bit of scene to it, so you're advancing the story. It is kind of narrating along, and you are in the settings where you're at. In addition to finding the little node that will take you to the next part of the story, there are also informational nodes, and this is why I call it kind of like a museum exhibit or something like that. Which is like these information nodes either give you historical context for like what would have been happening with this around the time. So like in Dagon, in classic Lovecraft form, the character is a veteran who as a veteran of World War I who is suffering from PTSD, and he is a morphine addict. Has kind of gone into substances to try and dull the pain of the horror that he has seen. That's just like a common thing, and there in those stories, and there is a node that explains, all right, morphine was invented roughly at this time. Everybody knew it was addictive, and so by the time the story took place, it was really restricted, but it was real common. Morphine addiction was called the soldier's disease or something like that. interesting stuff on its own, just from a like reading cards in the museum kind of sense. Not a riveting or super engaging game to play, but Dagon is a good and underrated story, and it does a very good job of walking you through the admittedly bare bones kind of beats of it. It's a very short story, only a few pages, but
I mean, it's literally a short story.
Yes, I mean, even as far as short stories go, it is it is not a rats on the walls, let's say. It's more of the tomb as far as Lovecraft stories go. Yeah, but it's neat. If you're really into Lovecraft stuff, it's free, and it only takes a half hour to play. So it probably would be pretty cool in VR, but who knows?
Yeah, like, is there any kind of like, hey, I want to walk around this, or
no, it's just node to node.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I'm glad you enjoyed the time you spent with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
nothing wrong with that.
And that's all I got.
Multiplayer.
Now it is time for the multiplayer. It'll be a short multiplayer, but it'll be one nonetheless, where we ask you a question and then you answer. Sorry, I tried to vary it up and I screwed it up. I need to stick to the script.
I mean, we do usually do it, but it's just the kind of usually that's always.
Yeah, usually, and today is no exception. Hey, Dennis, what's the question that you ask the nice people?
Well, actually, no. Usually is, I'm just going to go right back on this topic till I'm done talking about it. Usually is the appropriate thing, because sometimes we do something different. So usually is the most appropriate way to describe that.
So I want to make a joke that, like, the reason we have, it's kind of light is usually we ask the nice people, but now we're just, asking the not nice people.
Oh, yeah.
But that then implies we did have some responses, and that then implies that, like, they're not nice people, so that kind of sucks. But still, I wanted to be able to make that joke.
It's undetermined, right? We could have asked nice and not nice people, and only the nice people responded.
True. And also nice and not nice are, they're not immutable qualities. They can change over time. Maybe a lot of people weren't feeling nice this week. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You could have cussed us out less in your responses, but no. So, we all like to play video games and kind of check out while doing so, play in a flow state, play in the zone, but sometimes you zone out a little too much and you do something dumb. So what is the dumbest mistake you've ever made in a video game?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, can I start by saying something that's bothering me a great deal with this image is I'm not sure it's actually possible to, like, get this layout.
So the post image, it is a possible mock-up screen of Tetris where there are several mostly complete rows of bricks, and just one big juicy lane on the side, right, where the eye-shaped piece could go. And the person playing it took a Z piece and put it right over the portion on the well where the eye piece could go, thus making it so that the next move when the eye piece drops will kill them. Yes.
Yeah, so I think it says 0 lines have been earned, but there are several block shapes that could not be only made with whole tetri. What's the
tetriminos.
Here's what's bothering me is the piece that's blocking is the only green piece in the entire puzzle.
Yeah.
So
no.
I now think I want to see, like, I don't know, the next hackathon or whatever. I want to see someone develop an algorithm to look at Tetris board and determine whether or not it would be possible to actually get that layout.
Yeah, to tamp down on rampant Tetris cheating.
Yep.
Anyway, I'll get us started with Jeremy, who says, I'm playing Final Fantasy X, and I'm running in the Thunder Field so I can get Lulu's ultimate weapon. You have to dodge 100 lightning strikes in a row, and it's really, really hard. At one point, I got distracted, and I got hit by lightning after about 95 straight dodges. Even worse, after that, I lost count while redoing it, and I finally got it with about 160 dodges, was happy. Or sorry, after about 60 dodges, I was happy. But my eyes were very tired. I don't even use Lulu, so maybe some of those numbers were wrong. But yeah. So I think that is a common story. That is a very infamous challenge, and one of the main reasons why I really don't use Lulu in that game when I replay it, because getting the ultimate weapon for her is a real problem.
Lulu is big titty goth summoner.
Not the summoners, it's just a black mage.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yuna's the summoner.
Okay.
Yeah. Boy, infamous. And I don't know, Dennis, since this is the last one, go ahead and do Greg.
All right, Greg says, I'm so used to most games these days having auto or cloud saving that when I play older games, even those that do have it, I tend to forget to manually save as much as I should. As an example, when I was replaying Mass Effect 1 last year, I lost about 3 hours of gameplay once due to that. Ooh, the game does have auto-saving, but not very good checkpoints. And I just forgot this wasn't Mass Effect 2 or 3, and I was playing with its great checkpoints. Whoops.
I mean, realistically, that's probably going to be my answer too. Is forgetting to save for a long time, to the point where on streams people will usually, if I haven't saved for a while, say, hey, you should probably save. Or at least that was a big thing, with particular games, at least a while back. I don't know if it's been as big recently, but it's one of the few points where I really tolerate backseating in my streams.
Sure,
which is like, hey, maybe for all of us. Yeah,
it's like a courtesy flush.
Yeah. But like, I don't know, possibly some dumb mistakes, like in original EverQuest when you could lose your corpse. Die, get it in an unrecoverable place, and couldn't afford to have somebody summon it to me. Yeah, but yeah. Let's see, Ben. How about you? What's your biggest goof?
So in Grand Theft Auto, and I forget exactly how I did this, so I'll just say the general case. When you're going through the collectibles and you don't keep like rigorous track of which ones you're collecting,
I hate it
and
so
you
much.
Get to the end, and it says 99 out of 100. Some sad times right there.
Oh, that's why I don't like collectibles. As you collect, every subsequent one gets harder to find because there are fewer of them.
I mean, I'm still in that like Resident Evil honeymoon phase where it's like, if they just make maps like that, then no harm, no foul,
Yeah. Oh, David, how about you?
So I don't know if this technically meets the requirements, but I feel like it meets the spirit. I was playing Fallout 4 while high.
Okay.
And I was in the fight club. I forget one of the companions. That's like they're like a former fighter, some pit fighter, and so their like special quest is you have to go back to the fight club and, I don't know, beat someone or something.
Yeah, you're thinking of Kate.
Yes.
Do a thing,
And I proceed to get lost in the fight club. The problem with
it's just a theater.
Yeah, the problem with that is it's literally like 2 rooms.
That's
All
great.
right, so I got drunk and killed Rivet City in Fallout 3, so that means Dennis or Kole, you need to do shrooms and play Fallout 5 whenever it comes out.
Okay.
For science. It's for science.
I need to figure out how to get shrooms. I don't know where to get shrooms.
Come to the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The answer is apparently it is completely legal to buy the spores, and you just inject them in a bag of instant rice.
Okay.
We're not lawyers. We are not lawyers. Funny enough.
Well, what I learned when I was in Ireland is that kids will go out and just look for funny acting sheep, because sheep love shrooms too.
Okay.
So you find the sheep that are feeling it, and you found the shrooms.
Yeah.
That seems like an amazing way to get poisoned.
Yeah. It really, really does. Although you can just look up on your phone what actual psilocybin mushrooms look like. So
also that implies that there are not funny acting sheeps.
Yeah, you ever paid attention to a sheep? It's real funny. Yeah. And Dennis, how about you?
Yeah, I think mine, at least mine in recent memory, was in Star Wars Squadrons, where you can build all sorts of different loadouts for your ship, essentially what missiles and boosts, etc. you're going to bring into the game. And I was like, oh, I'm going to get really creative. I'm going to bring a build that's all about ion torpedoes.
Okay.
Where those they do low damage. You know where I'm headed with this. They do low damage, but they can disable a ship, so then it's just a sitting duck. And so, like, I got all the tracking systems and ion boosts, and set my you can bring like ion lasers essentially, and then forgot the actual torpedoes. Just like the most ineffective build. And that game like is a lot of multiplayer for loadouts. Like that's what you're doing it for. So had to spend that entire match just like being like, my team thinks I am the biggest idiot here, so I'm just gonna.
It's a really good troll build. Just because, like, okay,
if you're looking to troll your own team.
oh yes, you're going to be trolling your own team, but also the person that you're trolling, right? Because if they're disabled, if their ship can't go, if their ship don't go anymore, like they have to wait there. And I forget if Squadrons lets you eject. If you destroy them, they just go into the respawn pool.
This is true. Yeah. So I could get most of the way disabled, and then not actually be able to do anything with it. So they would come out of ion stun, be like, oh, that was okay, stunned again. What is? I don't understand. So.
Oh man,
check your builds before you jump into a multiplayer game.
Well, thank you for responding, people who responded. Thank you, Dennis, for posting it. If you would like to participate in the future, go to facebook.com/thelevelpodcast and watch for the prompts to go up on Monday afternoons. The end boss. Now it is time for the end boss, where we talk about things that are exciting in the world of video games. Sometimes mine's kind of more of a bummer thing, but regardless. Anyway, I'll just do mine right away because I think I was the first one who posted in there. Sony announced the initial lineup for their revamp of PlayStation Plus, kind of their attempt to get in on the Microsoft Game Pass kind of deal, except by offering way more confusing of a plan scheme and having worse games.
And less.
Yeah. And yeah, so it's a bit of a problem. I look at it, and all of the really good stuff is stuff that is either Sony first party, or it is stuff that was already available as part of the PlayStation 5, just PS4 classics kind of deal, and you can. Like there's good, like, essential modern stuff on here, right? So like there's Ghost of Tsushima, there's the Demon Souls remake, as far as like modern things go, right? There's Hollow Knight, just a bunch of stuff that, like, yeah, it's cool and good, but there's nothing that's like exclusive to it, like where it's kind of a breaking news that this brand new thing is going to be available on it.
It seems like a significant portion of these are like, if you own a PS5, you almost certainly own most of these.
Yeah.
Well, that's because there's like 3 games for PS5.
Yeah.
I was going to say, not as good and not as much. It could have been the tagline for PlayStation 5.
Yeah. There's 3 games available because they only manufactured 4 of the console units. Stuff gets more dire when you get down to the old games, because they're really stretching the definition of classics in PlayStation Classics on this. So like PlayStation 1, like there are like they got some good stuff on here. Intelligent Cube is a really good game that a lot of people forgot. And then like maybe Ape Escape, maybe Mr. Driller or Tekken 2. But like, I don't know, people aren't really clamoring to get in there and play Siphon Filter.
Or Jumping Flash.
Jumping Flash is a good game.
Yeah? I've never heard that name before.
It's a fun first-person platformer from like the way early days of PlayStation 1. It's neat.
I would play Siphon Filter again for what it's worth.
Yeah.
Because, it's fun to see like first-person controls not really be figured out.
Yeah.
Wait, but you can tase people in Siphon Filter.
You can tase people until they catch fire. Yes.
Yeah. All right, you sold me.
What were you going to say, David?
Wasn't there something or another that Ape Escape was like the game that was never going to be re-released?
That's a good question.
I don't know. I think maybe the fact that there was that PlayStation 1 Mini that didn't ship with DualShock controls.
Okay, maybe that's it.
Yeah, so Ape Escape couldn't have been put on it when that was one of them. There's some PS2 games that are available here, but like especially disappointing is even Sony hasn't figured out how to emulate PlayStation 3 games. So all of the PlayStation 3 games are streaming, like in the old PlayStation Now, which when I tried it, it was dog shit. Just very unresponsive, lots of artifacting, just really bad video compression, really bad audio compression. So that was a real bummer because I don't know, I really wanted to play Eco on that when we covered it for Bonfire Side Chat. But
there's good games on PlayStation 3, just can't really play them.
Yeah. So overall, this is, kind of a bummer. I would see it being a, pretty good value if there are, 1+ year old games on the PlayStation 5 that you are interested in. Like, it'd be a good way to play Death Stranding Director's Cut, right?
Well, I still haven't gotten a PlayStation 5, and when I do, I'll have a long backlog of games to play. And I've been bad about going in and redeeming my free games on PlayStation Plus anyway.
Yeah.
But it's a case where I might stand to benefit from it in some way.
Yeah.
That is still not attractive to me.
Yeah. Let's see here. David, what's happening? There was a bunch of Dead by Daylight news today, but what's the story you brought?
Yeah, so Dead by Daylight is going to have a new, I guess, expansion, or I don't know what things are called nowadays.
They do like episodic content kind of deals.
Yeah,
like they almost like miniature seasons where they release tie-in material. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And they already had I think one based on, I think it was Resident Evil 2.
Possibly.
I know it had Leon, so I think that's right.
Mm-hmm.
But they're now releasing a new Resident Evil one. They haven't said who the characters are, but it is going to be called Project W.
So probably Wesker.
Right. Yeah, so that's basically all of the news. It's apparently the first franchise to get a second release on Dead by Daylight.
Makes sense. Lots of beloved characters. Lots of good big monsters. Yeah.
What is the pitch for Wesker? Because I only know him from 5, and he kind of just, I don't know, seemed...
catches rockets.
Yeah.
Does Matrix moves.
Yeah.
You need a pitch? Come on.
Here's what I want to see in Dead by Daylight. I want to see, instead of like throwing crates in front of the monster, Chris Redfield's the monster, and you like move a boulder in the way of and he just like uppercuts it out of the way.
Oh man. Chris, I do want one where Chris Redfield is the monster, but just no explanation why.
Sorry guys, we lost track of who was who.
That is one thing that does seem a little weird to me with bringing in like some of these franchises where it seems like the characters should be able to be much more effective at actually fighting back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why would Freddy kill these people? They weren't the ones who ignored his death and allowed it to happen.
Freddy had some mission creep.
He did.
Oh, man. Keeping in the horror realm, Dennis, why are you bringing the story that I pointedly did not bring?
Because the people got to hear us talk about it. They got to watch you suffer. There's images going around from a potential Silent Hill reboot leak. They are interesting looking images, but their authenticity is very much up for debate, right? So
Yeah.
take this all with a grain of salt. But the look seems to be going towards like paper seems to be a theme.
Mm-hmm.
There's like floweriness to it. And it very different take than what I associate with Silent Hill. But you can kind of still see the threads of Silent Hill through it.
Yeah.
So, they say the people that leaked it said also that there were going to be certain characters in it. They gave names, although I don't think those names connect to anyone notable from the series. Am I right? Anita and Maya?
No, those don't. So there are also multiple projects that were rumored to be announced. A remake of Silent Hill 2, possibly by Bloober Team, the Layers of Fear people, which I'm not terribly happy about that. Bloober Team can make an okay game, but they're not good with stories about trauma. There is a story-based game. I forget what developer that's associated with, though. But like a more like Until Dawn style thing. And then there is a rumored like new. The story-based one is rumored to take place in Britain, which is weird. Not necessarily impossible, but strange. And then there is the rumored like new mainline entry in the series, like an actual new ass Silent Hill game. And I think that's the one that people are putting Masahiro Ito on.
Which is where they're saying like that these images kind of seem like they would come from him.
Yeah.
So it almost looks like Josh paper, like paper for burnt offerings.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. Well, there's another screenshot. There, like the tweet that had some of these has been taken down a lot of places. But companies pull shit down because so who knows? But there's another kind of screenshot that's basically like a less polished concept art version of the main image, and that actually does have writing on all the papers. So not to say it's not that kind of paper, but
I have no idea. I mean, that would be weird because that would then be like
feudal Japan,
right, or like China or something. So
yeah. No, there's like a handwritten note motif across a bunch of these. The reason I didn't bring these is that roughly every 4 months there is a frenzy of Silent Hill rumors on Twitter specifically. People just go lose their fucking minds and jump at any shadow. And it's once you are attuned to it, it's like you start seeing Silent Hill trend, and it's like, oh, it's that time again, huh?
I didn't think Konami made games anymore.
That's true.
There is
but they could.
They moved the IP to their slot machines, so they can't actively develop their video games. So if they're doing this, that means they've stopped developing their slot machines, which is fine.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, I will. I am of the opinion. A couple of people that I follow are, have said similar things. Voidburger, prominent Silent Hill streamer, she, I take her approach, which is I will believe this when I'll believe any of this exists when I have a disc in my hands, because even PT. That was there for a brief fleeting moment, and then they pulled it off. Like they did extra spiteful things to do everything but yank it off of people's systems. So, yeah.
So
I've been hurt too many times.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It's like being a fan of the Reds, in Cincinnati here. So, but
except the Reds still have seasons.
Not for a while this year. Am I right? Anyway, so yeah, it just the thing I like is just how evocative this main image is, and like, I give me more horror in the light.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, please. Like that's give me that. That seems really cool.
Oh yeah, it's a cool image if it's associated with an actual game. Like, neat.
Mm-hmm. Hey, even if it's not, cool little piece of art there, whatever it is. But I just like the. We were talking about how everything must be gray at the beginning of the first next generation, and the more we diverge from that, the more I like diverging from it. So
Dennis, you should see the movie Zodiac if you have not seen that movie.
bright pink Silent Hill, yes please.
I like how even the episode of Community that's a takeoff on Zodiac uses that same filter. Round us out, Ben. What's going on with Fall Guys?
Yeah, they had an announcement a few days ago. They're going to release a map editor for the game.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, and they're also going free to play, which I was surprised by.
Yeah. They're not already?
No, I think it starts next month in June. The map editor, I think, will be released like June 21st, around that time. Yes. But yeah, it's a kind of cool development. They're trying to be like, I guess, like Mario Maker, hopefully, where people can kind of make their own levels to challenge one another. I guess it's TBD whether or not they'll integrate this in the main game or not. Like if they start like taking upvoted levels and making them a part of like the campaigns that people play. But it's just kind of cool development to see. I haven't played this game in like a year probably, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe I'll poke around and see what's
fun game. Yeah.
Yeah. So at least they're trying to expand it to more people now and freshen it up a little bit. So.
Oh, it was a PlayStation Plus game, I think was how I got it. So, effectively free to play for a lot of people.
Yeah, it launched PlayStation Plus. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Also it's being brought to, I think, Xbox and Switch as well. Previously it was just PlayStation and PC.
Oh, cool.
I need to, if it's going to be free to play. I enjoyed the few times that I tried it out. It might be fun to dip back into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, how do you all feel about buttoning it up?
Buttons are the order of the day.
The credit.
Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to level number 415. We appreciate you taking the time. If we sounded any different, understand we're recording this in a different way. Hopefully we sounded better. So different and better, good, different and bad means we're going to be doing it the old way next time. So we'll figure it out. We're always trying to evolve over here. If you want to support this show, you know what you can do. You can go to Patreon. You can go to Facebook.com/TheLevelPodcast. You can tell your friends. Dennis, is there any Deck of Wonders news? Anything you want to promote on that?
I will officially be at Origin. I can't remember if I said that before. And Gen Con as well. So yeah, come see me at the cons.
Nice.
Depending on how things go, I may have a prototype version of my next game there.
Oh boy!
Yeah.
Even I didn't know about a next game. So
yeah, this is. I'll tell you guys more about it in a bit. But yeah,
yeah. And in addition, since we promoted that, Jala, if you go to jalachan.place, she has started up her new podcast. As of looking at this right now, the episode that we did about the Ace Attorney movie is the most recent one up there. That was a good time. I have not seen anything I've disliked by Takashi Miike, and that was no exception. And it was fun to talk with her and Dave about that. So go there and check that out to get Jala content. I think that's everything. Am I forgetting anything?
Don't think so.
All right.
The David and Ben, you guys need to come up with some stuff to plug. Come on.
Get more busy.
Do a thing.
What are you, my family?
Legit.
Oh man. So I've been Kole Ross. You can find me on Twitter at Kole Ross.
I've been Dennis Fury. You can find me in the Nightmare Fog.
I'm still David Mysmith.
I'm Ben Merkel.
And stick around for some titles. Okay, who's got what?
So I have one, which is Freddy had some feature creep. Or mission creep, sorry.
Oh, Jason had some mission creep.
That is technically not what you said. But
you said Freddy.
Yeah. Damn it. Well, he did have mission creep because, yeah.
He wasn't even a part of the first mission.
He was a creep with a mission.
Did you have anything else?
That's all I got.
All right. I had collateral contraband. I had cat dog, but in Dark Souls, and I had popular and stopular.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't get through without laughing. Dennis, what you got?
Popular and stopular, so good. I have two more that I also like.
Okay.
I have don't sleep on pots, just because there's multiple ways you could read that without knowing the context.
Okay.
And then also Dagon, Daygone.
That's very good. Ben, what you got?
I got stopular.
Okay.
I gotta drop things into your hole.
Oh no.
Oh no.
I got usually that's always.
That's good.
I got if their ship don't go anymore. And I have Freddy had some mission creep.
Okay. So popular and stopular gets it by votes. Any impassioned pleas for elsewise?
Oh, I do like that one.
All right. Let's go for
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet.